Twin Lights Caravan presents
BELLE, Part 2, The Scorpion's Promenade.
Give a rapturous ovation for my belle of the ball, Aranea Flexabella.
A bullet of intense rapture hit Dusty's chest as the smoke cleared. He was wounded by what he saw emerge from the leather cleft of the tent.
Feast your eyes upon this great creature. Feast, feast, feast.
Dusty's hands went to his gut. His eyes followed along with the spotlight on this impossible thing. Maestro Marhf plummeted in comparison to this majestic creature.
Half spider, half scorpion, Aranea was crafted by a renowned French dark coven thaumaturge master in the middle of the 18th century.
Marhf's voice had softened.
Through a rare dark art of necromancy, spellcasting, and the ancient and almost forgotten art of clay-juring, born from the secret spirit warp of shambles, Aranea was forged to protect the lower layer of the dark churches in New Orleans.
4 lissom legs walked down the wooden path. Dusty fixated on the long limbs of flesh exposed where the latex fabric of Aranea's leotard stopped. The outer right leg stepped, then the inner left. A split second, the inner right, then almost at the same time the outer left step, and repeated so gracefully. Dusty watched in desirous pain as her curvy hips bounced with each step.
Look at her.
Dusty licked his lips as he stared at Aranea's coffee-hued thighs. They moved up to her 4 long, sinewy arms. He was amazed that all 4 arms were perfectly symmetrical. The 2 extra arms extended out at the sides of her perfect round breasts. Aranea Flexabella reached the center pole. She had a pear-shaped face with flawless features. The skin on her face was as smooth and tight as her legs. Her hair was obsidian black and pulled in a tight ponytail. The tail of her hair had to be almost 2 feet long. Dusty wondered how this marvelous creature could be over 100 years old. Aranea slid her pink-forked tongue along her bronze-tinged full lips. Her dark, downturned, almond-shaped eyes surveyed the crowd. A moment later, she closed her eyes and turned her face up. All 4 arms rose to the air as her outer legs shot up past her shoulders in a V. The crowd cheered. Her face shot back down. She opened her eyes and 2 snow-white orbs scoured the audience with contempt. Had those pearly diamonds stayed on me for an extra split second? Dusty marveled. He readjusted himself on the wooden bleacher. He buttoned up his shirt and fixed the collar.
She could tell I'm not one of these desert-dwelling bumpkins.
Dusty wiped at the beer stain on his shirt and was happy to see it had dried and was barely visible.
The Mothers of Fate saw the magical linkage. I happened upon Aranea at the turn of the century, purchasing BELLE in exchange for several soul bounties and exquisite potions. A heavy price indeed.
Marhf faced the owl's head toward Aranea.
Serpenticinu contortia.
Flexabella's eyes closed and opened, revealing 2 black orbs. In the golden glow of the spotlight, Aranea Flexabella performed with an entrancing grace. Dusty watched in a captivated daze. Both he and Aranea wore expressions as though lost in a trance-like state.
Next, the heart bridge.
Marhf announced, and then in a lower voice,
Setu herdaya, pontifex corambraritum.
Flexabella snapped into a lowercase n. The elbows of her inner arms lay flat on the ground and the knees of her outer legs bent to the floor. Her inner legs rose, and her feet curved into her pelvis, making an almost perfect heart shape. Dusty's vision homed in on the tips of her toes, pointing in towards her lap. He blinked rapidly, shaking his head.
Whoa!
He spoke under his breath. Flexabella stood up straight, the act of unfolding herself as amazing as the pose.
My enigmatic creature of awe, ladies and gentlemen, watch as Aranea embodies the very essence of life's mystery, the double helix.
Marhf barked from the back of his throat. The crimson eyes went to Flexabella again.
Dvitya helix.
As the hauntingly beautiful music swelled in the background, Aranea extended her 4 symmetrical arms outward, creating an exquisite symmetry that mirrored her otherworldly physique. Each arm moved with a fluidity that seemed impossible, a testament to her unparalleled contortionist abilities. Her upper pair of arms gracefully curved upward like intertwined serpents, forming the spiraling structure of the double helix. Her lower pair of arms mirrored the motion in the opposite direction, creating a mesmerizing counter-spiral. It was as if her body were an intricate dance of DNA, a living embodiment of the genetic code itself. Aranea's 4 symmetrical legs were no less remarkable. With her upper legs raised elegantly, they formed a hypnotic continuation of the upward spiral, while her lower legs mirrored the motion, completing the double helix's structure. Her limbs seemed to defy the laws of anatomy as they twined around each other in perfect harmony. Again, Aranea uncoiled and stood at attention for Maestro Marhf, whom Dusty was convinced was a wizard. Like a snake charmer, Marhf cast what Dusty assumed were spells in a strange language after announcing the next impossible pose.
Arachnid arch.
Dusty concentrated on the subtle curvature pressing against the fabric of her leotard as her waist lifted higher and higher from the ground and the skirt part of the leotard flipped up. Dusty bit his lips so hard he felt a sting and tasted blood as he stared at the bulge of her lips below her waist.
Show them the silken spiral, Satakurta, Serpentis lure, Vershchika, Tentant allure, Sutra Sarpana.
Flexabella became a mythical, enchanting 4-limbed snake. Dusty's gaze moved from the golden undertone of her smooth feet.
Gothic Bada Vixepa.
Flexabella tangled her limbs into eerie and intricate knots. It was the first time in Dusty's life he would be left speechless if asked a question. He watched her caramel-colored curves and contours of her slender calves and surprisingly voluptuous thighs bend, twist, and spin like a roller coaster. Dusty Bowen, business extraordinaire and big city slicker, was overtaken by a hot fever pulsing inside his loins. The scissor-bladed pupils of Marhf's eyes evaluated the crowd. While his demeanor remained composed and unwavering beneath the surface, he sensed the ominous pulse of dark mana surging through the obsidian pathways of his tainted veins. His creature of the secret underworld stood erect and ready to obey, for now she was under his control.
Now for the final act, the Promenade de Deux.
Maestro Marhf raised his cane over Flexabella's head and moved it in a circle slowly. Flexabella's eyes closed.
Manya vadino moda, anthropophagus tama vinashina, piegige, devourer and deliverer.
Maestro Marhf twirled the owl's head faster.
Purusa Baksin, Purusa Baksin.
Marhf seemed to breathe the words out. Dusty watched the cane as it began to move diagonally from side to side as if tracing an invisible star inside a circle.
He's making a pentagram.
Dusty thought and figured he was the sole viewer in this tent who knew what that was.
Devit, Yaka Samkara, Deshus Duo.
Marhf screamed and thumped the beautiful creature on the forehead.
The ritual of the fallen two.
The atmosphere in the room underwent a transformation. Music changed, enveloping the space in an alluring and mesmerizing ambiance. The music turned into a haunting melody played softly on strings that seemed to resonate with a mysterious energy. Deep, resonant notes from a cello created a rich, seductive undertone that pulsated through the room, echoing the beat of hearts quickening in anticipation. Accompanying the cello, a haunting flute weaved into the composition, adding an ethereal quality to the music. Its delicate, sinuous notes evoked the image of a serpent moving sensuously through the air. Flexabella's eyes shot open, revealing a pair of blood moons. As the music enveloped the stage, Flexabella began a mesmerizing, Promenade dance. Her body moved. She became the music. Her forearms and legs moved sinuously, intertwining and gliding through the air in an intricate, salacious choreography. Each limb possessed a mind of its own, caressing the space around her with an irresistible sensuality. Her lithe form contorted and twisted, creating a tantalizing display of flexibility that left Dusty spellbound. He squeezed his thighs, trying to tame the unbearable sensation in his groin. With every sultry movement, she cast a bewitching spell upon him. Her scarlet eyes locked onto his, drawing him deeper into her seductive dance. Nothing else existed. Dusty wasn't sure if his whirlwind mind was making it up, or if indeed Flexabella had engaged with him in this exotic dance. But the music, the wizard, and the murmuring crowd had vanished. It was him and Aranea Flexabella. Dusty's mouth came unhinged and hung like a puppy in hungry anticipation of a treat. Aranea's 4 legs began to impossibly climb the center pole, and Dusty's center pole was feverishly hard. Her 4 hands moved everywhere it seemed, here tracing the circles of her areola, there caressing her backside. Even her jet-black ponytail swayed lasciviously. An inner hand slid over her face. A finger stuck purposely at her bottom lip for a second before continuing the descent down across her chest and zigzagging until her hand pushed between her propelling thighs. Her 4 legs now clung to the pole by her knee joints as Aranea humped the air. Her hands snaked, twirled, twisted, and played. The tips of her snake-like tongue poked out. The 2 pink tips played with each other. Dusty groaned. The audience, much like Dusty, was entranced by her performance, unable to tear their gaze away from the bewitching spectacle unfolding before them. Marhf's hard cheeks strained into a grin. Even the women and, in Marhf's estimation, quite disgracefully awesome, the few children left were completely fixated on his beloved creature. Sweat dripped down Dusty's spine to the crack of his ass. His dress shirt clung to his flesh. The music, the impossible positions, and the fantasies erupted in his mind. It was too much. Aranea gracefully ascended the towering center pole of the tent. With the remarkable dexterity of her 4 symmetrical legs, she made this seemingly impossible feat appear effortless. Her lithe, almond-hued limbs flexed in perfect harmony. The spotlight captured every movement as her sleek, powerful muscles rippled beneath her skin. Dusty moaned, pinching his thighs tightly as if he were a child holding in pee. This remarkable creature was about 25 feet above the ground. With each controlled movement of her knee joints, she propelled herself upward, defying gravity. Dusty estimated the top of the pole to be about 30 feet or so from the ground, and as she reached the zenith of her ascent, suspended high above the circus floor, she launched herself from the towering pole. Dusty sucked in a breath. His scrotum stung. Flexabella gracefully performed a backflip, and her body somersaulted another half a turn, and halfway down her head was aimed towards the ground. But then, with impossible precision, she reached out with one hand and grasped the pole. Her fingers wrapped around the polished surface, and her entire body pivoted as she held herself suspended by a single hand. With her 7 free limbs, Flexabella performed a majestic, contemporary dance. Dusty's eyes shot open, mirroring the crowd's excitement. Awestruck murmurs turned into cheers, filling the air. The curves of her legs, the pleasant bumps of her chest, the way she kicked her 4 feet, the way she bent and broke, it was all too much. Flexabella spread her 4 legs, the music faded, and her hand glided down the pole, Dusty fixated on the space between her thighs, and as his hardness pulsed, he thought of lemon cake. His lust-drunk eyes locked onto the silky, puckered folds of her vulva. The pulsing and thumping of his heart and hardness increased. All Dusty could think about was eating her sacred garden of intimacy. Aranea let go of the pole. Dusty felt sick. He needed to eat. Aranea fell to the ground. The crowd gasped. She landed with a two-handed handstand, her legs still spread wide open in a split, and her free outer hands waving to the crowd.
The great and mythical La Belle du Bal,
Marhf bellowed.
Oh shit!
Dusty cried under his breath, crossing his legs, and leaned forward with his hands in his lap. Flexabella launched herself to her feet and curtsied. The crowd erupted into an explosion of applause. Dusty exploded. His legs twitched in small micro-movements in and out, and his body shook as his pelvis contracted. Dusty mumbled softly. What the fuck? He kept thinking over and over in his head. Dusty had been with hundreds of women in his life, and now, even Claire, his young hotbox of Rock's wife, struggled at times to get his blood pumping.
Except when she triggers me and gets the blood pumping to the wrong head and I want to kill her.
But this fine specimen, Aranea Flexabella, got Dusty more than just pumped. Dusty's brow glistened with a sheen of perspiration, and moisture pooled beneath the folds of his neck. Luckily, he was wearing black dress pants, so the stain of mess could not be seen. Dusty inhaled and got a faint whiff of bleach. In the center of the ring, Tiger Marhf held Flexabella's smooth, dainty hand with his gnarled and knotted fingers. She curtsied again. Dusty heard the crowd rage into more raucous cheers again, but he was busy examining his pants. The crotch of his underwear clung to the side of his thigh uncomfortably. The fire inside his loins had cooled, but he was still hungry. Rose-hued lips formed in his mind. The mysterious slit was before him. He was very hungry, and when Dusty looked up, hunger stared back at him. Someone had heard Dusty's silent explosion after all. The wizard held Flexabella's hand above her head. Marhf scoured the crowd. Flexabella was to his left, and the owl head in his right hand continued to study the audience. Aranea, the half-scorpion, half-spider, and part-human creature from the secret underworld, fixed her crimson beacons on Dusty. He watched her nostrils flare.
She picked up the musky scent of my elixir.
That was a strange way to think about it, but that was the phrase that jumped into his mind. As Aranea Flexabella bent her knees for the final curtsy, Dusty saw the two pink tips of her tongue poke out and wiggle at him. She wants a real man. Aranea's forelegs bow out one last time, looking like four silky arrowheads. Maestro Marhf bowed his head in unison with Flexabella's curtsy. The entire crowd was on their feet. Hooting, hollering, and whistling filled the tent, and the manna poured forth. Tiger Marhf inhaled through his knotted nose. Tiger set the owl's head handle of his cane on his wrist. The two mystique creatures stood holding hands. Aranea's crimson windows fixated upon Dusty. Aranea wanted him. She could easily tell he wasn't a desert-dwelling hillbilly or a creepy magician. He was a charming, handsome businessman. Marhf's voice rattled softly from the back of his throat. Dusty shuddered. The crowd quieted. Tiger's dry, hard lips barely moved as he spoke.
In shadows deep, we dance and sway. Mysteries unfold in night's ballet.
Marhf's maroon crisscross pupils grew large inside the green irises. The vertical slits were unblinking.
In secret's underworld, where frightmares play.
With the speed of a magician's hand, Tiger produced a glowing ball of fire.
With soul's mana, we loop the loop and fade away.
A thunderclap boomed throughout the tent. And then in an epic bursting flash of flames, Maestro Marhf and Aranea Flexabella were consumed by a giant fireball that filled the center of the ring. Dusty covered his ears. The smoke cleared, and Octavius' soul stood in the center of the ring with his white gloves lifted skyward. The baseball bat had been fixed and was grasped in his right hand, and the talons of the fat, black vulture clung to his left wrist. The spotlight overhead illuminated the intricate scars on his face. Sweet honey dripped from his words.
Thank you, my dearest ladies, my precious children, and my good gentlemen for watching Maestro Marhf's Bizarro Extravaganza, Zalnither Extravagor Blichara.
Soul chuckled, and a gust of wind swept into the tent, and Dusty saw Soul's multicolored hair stir. His voice grew, and the carnival music became louder.
I hope you felt the thrill.
Thunder rumbled.
I truly enjoyed feasting on your souls.
The scars and indentations on his face stretched into a sneer.
Flarix and Zath Ebeneth.
A vibrant bolt of lightning crackled through the air, striking the baseball bat hoisted high. The impact resonated in a deafening explosion that shrouded the center of the ring in a colossal gray cloud. Dusty squinted, his heart pounding in his chest from the shockwave. As the mist of smoke and debris lifted, all that remained was a small heap of shattered wood fragments and a handful of ebony feathers gently spiraling down, suspended in the fading echoes of the magic trick. The crowd clapped and cheered and whistled. Dusty sat slouched with his hands folded in his lap. His lips were pinched tight, and his brows narrowed as he stared forward. On an overhead speaker, a pleasant robotic voice instructed the audience to exit in a single file line and to take their trash with them. Please and thank you. Thinking of his soiled underwear, Dusty felt an annoying twinge of mortification. His face was flushed red with anger and annoyance. He stood up with a grunt. Dusty was hungry. Dusty was very thirsty. In the dim glow of the Thirsty Beaver, Dusty nursed his lukewarm beer, his disappointment hanging heavy in the air. The bar was nearly empty this evening, which Dusty guessed was because, like him, most folks had decided to spend their night at the Carnival Extravaganza. Of course, there was skunk weed, a regular barfly here at the Thirsty Beaver, and his typical spot at the end of the bar with his head in his arms, sleeping, and his hand gripping a glass of warm beer. Ryan Crane was at a booth with his two sons sharing a few brewskis and hot wings. And there was Big Val, a few seats down, drinking her unusual choice of vodka and cherry coke and scratching away at her lottery tickets with a long pink thumbnail. Dusty sat in the middle of the L-shaped bar. He had resigned himself to the fact that he would never see Flexabella again, that her ethereal and salacious dance was a fleeting moment, lost to the memories of the carnival, and the fantasies would forever haunt his sexual satisfaction. And even now, the stirring images of Aranea had reignited the fire inside his veins mere moments after the explosion in the tent. He had never experienced this gut-wrenching feeling. In Dusty's mind, there was always another woman, always another hole. With enough shrooms, it could be a buddy's hole for all Dusty Bowen cared for. And when all else failed, there was trusty old Mrs. Hand and her 5 little friends to get the job done. But the beautiful creature from the secret underworld had stirred his loins feverishly. Thirsty, hungry, and horny, Dusty Bowen took the next best thing.
Tilly, you'd be so jealous of this freak's tight little ass.
Dusty giggled to himself.
I like a tight ass.
Tilly said, filling up another tall glass of Bass. Dusty wiped his lips after downing the remaining swig of beer.
I don't know who wants old Dusty more, the circus freak or the college freak.
Dusty made a click-click with his tongue inside his mouth.
Keep dreaming, old man.
Tilly said, shaking her head.
Sure, ain't that bitch back at the ranch?
Dusty mumbled to himself and chuckled. Then he swiftly grabbed the shot glass on the counter, and without the glass touching his lips, he swallowed the liquor in one gulp.
Okay, there, Big Shot. Steady your horses.
Tilly turned around and replaced the empty glass with a new one. From underneath the counter, she found the skimmer, and as she wiped the foam off the top of the glass, Dusty leaned forward, pushing his belly against the counter.
What about horses? Did you say you want a horse's cock? I can help you with that, sweetheart.
Dusty clicked with his tongue again and jabbed a finger at Tilly's nipple. It was an easy target because of the piercing. Tilly slapped Dusty's hand with the flat part of the beer skimmer.
Whoa, take it easy, guy.
Tilly laced her words with humor.
I like it rough.
He grumbled with a sly grin and locked eyes with Tilly and wiggled his eyebrows up and down.
You know me and my business partner were gonna purchase a racehorse. True story.
Dusty held both hands up.
Listen, this was 85-6. No, it had to be a few years earlier because the Bank of America tower was still going up. You know, I had dinner with some of Martin Selig's pals. God's honest truth.
Tilly zoned Mr. Bowen out. That man invented fire, owned part of Mars, and had played golf with Moses. It was like walking a tightrope sometimes with the likes of Dusty Bowen. Or better yet, it was like training a bucking bronco at her daddy's ranch. It required skills like patience, understanding, knowing when it's okay to release the pressure of your grip, identifying pain. The right body language made a huge difference, and using a calming, gentle cadence of voice helped. There was a balance here. Sure, she had showed Dusty her tits at last year's New Year's Eve party, and he had proceeded to wedge 2 fresh Benjamin Franklins between her breasts. Yeah, sure, that helped. Her melons were all natural. Her mom called them tribal woman boobs, and like her mama, she belonged in a National Geographic magazine. Tilly guessed it was a compliment, although her goal was to be in Playboy magazine one day. Toying around with these dirty old men was just part of her job. God, if only her daddy knew what she had done to one of her professors. But these were investments for her education, so here she was working with a bucking bronco. She needed the tips, but didn't need to be assaulted by her daddy's creepy fat friend either. So she walked the tightrope.
Hey, Mrs. Feisty Pants, are you listening?
Dusty reached forward to poke her again. Tilly was far enough away, hanging glasses on the overhead glass rack.
Simmer down. The girls are sensitive, Mr. Bowen.
You like it?
Dusty winked at her as he brought the glass to his lips.
You like it. In the ass.
She winked back at him. Dusty laughed with the rim of the glass in his mouth, causing the beer to bubble. When he placed the glass on the counter, the glass was half empty.
I don't know, Tilly, but you're talking a lot about cocks and asses.
Tilly gripped the skimmer's handle in a tight fist with the blunt tip pointed down.
Easy, you dirty old man.
Dusty smacked his lips after finishing off the rest of the bass in 2 swallows.
Butchered by a hot college girl. Kinda turns the old man on.
You're a pig.
Oink, oink,
Dusty said. They both laughed.
Val.
Tilly called, replacing the beer skimmer. She took Dusty's empty glass.
Good, Val.
15 smackers, richer, honey.
She blew away the flakes of the lottery ticket in front of her. Big Val's tongue stuck out from the corner of her bright red lips. Her thumb went to work on another ticket she produced from her big yellow pocketbook.
Another cherry vodka, love?
Tilly produced a washcloth from her back pocket and wiped the ring of perspiration in front of Dusty. In another instant, there was a shot glass with the most famous mouse in the universe giving Dusty the finger.
Fuck you too, Mickey.
Dusty whispered and made the amber liquor disappear.
Ah, fuck me.
Yeehaw! Another hit for old Val, baby. I'm rich. 500 mackerels.
Damn, it's somebody's lucky night.
Tilly said, shaking her hips over to Val and pumping her fists in the air.
Let's go, girl!
Dusty's plump face grew tight in a scowl.
Must be nice.
He hissed under his breath. He scratched his balding scalp. He felt the pressure of his belly at his belt. He felt the pinched nerve tweak at his lower back from the extra weight it had to carry around these days. His finger ran over the gray stubble of his beard. Dusty thought of his uptight wife at home. He thought of the good old days lost and gone now.
I'm fat and old, an old stallion, now in line to be melted at the glue factory. No more wild rides, no more...
Dusty's thought was murdered. By what? An eerie whisper, his brows furrowed. No, not a whisper. He glanced over to Val and Tilly. Tilly was scanning the ticket with her orange-painted fingernail, double-checking if Big Val had indeed hit the jackpot. Had they not heard that? Thunder boomed outside. Then the whisper that wasn't a whisper but more like, "What?" The wailing ghost sound grew louder. Dusty recognized it for what it really was, a trumpet. The haunting melody grew closer. It was a blend of discordant tones that crawled under your skin.
A lucky winner.
Tilly hugged Val.
How do they not hear that?
Dusty scrunched his shoulders from the wailing cry of the trumpet.
What the fuck?
In one instant, just as the shrill of the trumpet grew spine-numbing close, a flash of lightning illuminated the dim bar in a haze of drab purple.
Oh, Lord!
Big Val yelled. Dusty saw skunkweed from his peripheral vision unfold awake, almost spilling his old beer and scratching at his tumbleweed beard.
Mama June,
He drunk man mumbled loudly. The trumpet blared and the double-swinging doors of the Thirsty Beaver were thrown open. Dusty swiveled on his chair. A frenzy of dead leaves and dingle hop entered the Thirsty Beaver. Behind him was a silhouette of 3 or 4 shapes morphed into the darkness of the night. But all eyes focused on the dwarf who somersaulted into the bar with a miniature trumpet slung on his hip by a string.
Ta-da!
Dinglehop announced before he was cartwheeling 1, 2, 3, 4 times, the bells on his shoes and hat tinkling. He leaped up on the swivel chair next to Dusty, and from on top of the bar counter, he brought the small trumpet to his yellow-painted lips. Dusty spun around to watch Tilly grab an aluminum bat from somewhere.
Get down from my bar, you varmint.
But Tilly held the bat loosely at her side. Dusty figured she wasn't too worried about this antsy, little flamboyant creature. Screeched from the instrument.
The bell of the bar!
Dinglehop said in a hoarse, squeaky voice, and proceeded by giggling like a goblin and back-flipping off the countertop. Dusty turned his gaze to the shapes entering the Thirsty Beaver. Another gust of night air swept in, bringing with it an unexpected chill. Dusty looked up, and there she was, Flexabella. He caught a glimpse of her glorious almond face. The exotic contortionist was flanked by carnies who entered the bar first, and the mere seconds it took for them to come in felt like a lifetime to Dusty, who waited in painstaking anticipation. First, Sarah Chubb, the ugliest lady on the planet, came through the double doors. Dusty figured he wouldn't have been able to slip $1 between the frame of the door and Chubb's gargantuan ass. Sarah wore layers of makeup and was dressed in a rainbow-striped dress so that if Dusty needed a parachute to make an emergency exit out of an airplane, Sarah's dress might do just fine. Next came Taquita, the Brazilian scar witch, who, save for the endless scars on her face, looked ordinary in her purple and pink two-piece sweatsuit. Following the witch were 2 normal young men wearing blue coveralls carrying something. Dusty watched as the men unfolded a big and sturdy makeshift wooden bench and set it down near a booth for Sarah Chubb to sit.
Well, damn.
Dusty heard Tilly, who was still by Big Val, say. Dusty returned his gaze to the entrance of the Beaver. Aranea Flexabella seemed to glide on her black high heels. She wore a dress that looked to have been woven from moonbeams and emerald dreams. Its fabric, a delicate blend of gold and green, gracefully caught the shadowy light in a way that made her seem like a celestial being. The gown, elegant yet not overly fancy, accentuated her every move, lending more air of mystery to her presence. Her long obsidian hair cascaded over her bare shoulders like a black cape. The doors swung close behind her. The bar was as silent as a grave. Aranea Flexabella's gaze narrowed on Dusty Bowen.
Thanks for watching. I hope you were scared to death. If your heart's still beating, like and share. And if you dare, subscribe for more delicious horror. We'll be waiting, right here in the dark.